and I mean this in the nicest way possible, it's going to feel a little bit like a cult, but in a good way.
So you think we're a threat to them?
I think we're a threat to ourselves. We've never had more access to educational resources or information, but somehow it seems like we're just getting dumber. Pain leads to growth. So it can't necessarily be a bad thing.
All right, guys, good morning. Welcome to the Blueprint Podcast. I've got Mr. Stu Lewis here with us today. For those of you guys that don't know, Stu Lewis is our Director of Quality here at fluwią̬ Roofing. He's been one of the guys that's been with us for an extended period of time. Stu, tell the folks at home that maybe don't know you, don't know what you do here. Tell us a little bit about who you are at fluwią̬, and then tell us a little bit about who you are outside of fluwią̬, please.
So I'm obviously our Director of Quality. Came on September of 21 as a QCM. Started out in Dallas. Spent some time in Austin, New Orleans, Florida. Made senior QCM for the Austin market. Came back up to Dallas and have been running quality for about 2 years now. Outside of work, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to it. I read. I love sports, baseball, basketball, football. I mean, you name it.
That's awesome. So, yeah, you've been with us, like I said, a few years now. You've had an awesome journey. You started at the bottom, worked your way up, and now you're overseeing all of the quality division, which is a big deal. And I'm looking forward to this interview and conversation just because I was telling you before we started, I haven't had too many chances to really sit down and get to know you. So I'm going to ask you some questions that I'm interested in knowing, and then hopefully the viewers are as well. Sound good? Beautiful, man. Well, let's jump right in. So you started with us a few years ago. You moved around from market to market. What did you do before fluwią̬?
So before fluwią̬, I spent about 10 years at a little mom-and-pop baseball, softball store in Arlington. Kind of the same deal. Started out rearranging their warehouse after a bad leak and worked my way up and ended up running it.
Nice, beautiful. You've mentioned sports. You've mentioned baseball. That's your go-to sport?
Oh, yeah.
Did you play?
I played a year of Little League and got more into football. And then around 14 or 15, I started playing softball with my dad and his buddies, and it just kind of stuck. So it was something I found a little later on, but
nice.
It's my go-to.
Rangers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Going
Yeah.
to
Got
on
ask.
Friday.
Are you? Nice. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Against the Reds, right? Or is it?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, good stuff, man. How baseball? Like, was that your pop's kind of main sport?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Dad played growing up, and it was just something that he passed on to my brother and I.
That's awesome. Where were you playing? In the field, shortstop, third base? Like, what's?
So the year I played Little League, I caught. And
like catcher?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've always wondered how those guys stay in a squatted position for so damn long.
It's not easy, man. And I caught on one of my softball teams. Actually, the one that I started playing with my dad. It's not easy, man. There's days that my knees are still kind of paying for it a little bit.
Yeah. You feel it more in your knees or your back? Because I'd imagine for sure the knees, huh? Because you're just in that position like for hours, literally. Yeah, that's no joke. Have you ever been cracked in the face, like someone swung and then it ricocheted back almost or deflected back?
So I did have one game. It was a random Friday night. I picked up with a buddy, and some 18, 19-year-old who hadn't played a whole lot just let go of the bat in his backswing, and it clipped off the top of the dome, and it was all right.
Yeah, it could be worse, right?
Could always be worse.
Have you ever gotten into a fight with an umpire?
No.
Okay,
no, that's not my style. We've had disagreements, but no fights.
Okay, got it, man. What's so you obviously played that, and then you mentioned shifting over to football.
Yeah.
You played.
Yeah.
Like high school, middle school, college.
Yeah, middle school, high school.
Okay, nice. And how was that? Tell me a little bit about it.
It was a lot of fun, man. Honestly, I miss it. I miss. It's gonna sound weird, but I miss getting hit as much as I miss hitting. There's just something about the contact, man.
Really?
It's
Really?
else.
We got some guys over here that I'm sure would love to give you a good crack, man.
I
for not approving their jobs on time or something, or messing up.
It.
No, I'm kidding. That's awesome. Okay, well, good stuff, man. So, played sports, worked your way up. Obviously, still an avid sports fan. What'd you do when you graduated high school? Like, were you with that mom and pops?
Not immediately. After high school, I was at UT Arlington. And my sophomore year, my buddies and I just went to Sonic down the street, and we were sitting in the parking lot, looked over and saw the little baseball softball store. Like, hey, that's kind of neat. Let's go wander around in there. And it was just nothing like anything I'd ever seen. It was wall to wall baseball softball equipment.
Wow. Nice. And that was it. That's all she wrote.
That's it, man. I pestered them for probably 6 or 8 months till they hired me.
Man, that's awesome. Okay, good stuff,
Yeah.
man. And so cool. So you got referred to us by one of the guys that was with us, and he said some really good things about you. He was a sales guy. You're an ops guy. Tell me a little bit about like coming into this business, coming into this realm in roofing. How do you view the business as a whole? I'm just curious.
So I tell people that, this is going to sound corny, but it's really not like any other place I've ever worked. I've never been somewhere where there was so much support just top to bottom. I mean, the little mom and pop store, it was a totally different deal. It was basically me, the owner, and one other guy. Great businessman, but the store wasn't really his passion at that point anymore, so it kind of fell by the wayside. But being here and seeing again the passion everyone has, not really just for the industry but for the company itself. Any new QCM that I bring on, I tell them, hey, look, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, it's going to feel a little bit like a cult, but in a good way. And I think that's something that multiple people have said before, and it's kind of true, man. It's not like any other place I've ever worked.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, appreciate the kind words, because that's an all of us thing, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a me thing, it's not a you thing, it's an all of us thing. And it's funny because when I had Eddie Vasquez on here, he used that word too. He used that word cult. And you think about it, you can't spell culture without cult.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the root word of culture. And to me, there's a few things that are very, very important to me. And one of the top 3 things is culture. Number 1 is your people, number 2 is your culture, and number 3 is your numbers.
Yep.
Because you gotta have all 3. You have to. You can't just say it's people and culture. But I do believe this: if you take care of 1 and 2, the third one takes care of itself. And that's always been like our motto here. And I think that's all of our leaders really do understand that and appreciate it. And they also carry that message out to the field and how they support and take care of their people. So that's a big piece. For the people who don't maybe understand or know, when you say cult, elaborate. Give it to us raw, though.
Man, I think it's just, for me, how relentlessly positive everyone is all the time. Like, that's, you come into a place, you don't really know all that many people, and you see everybody so happy, so energetic all the time. And I know, at least for me, there was a stretch when I started where I was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it never did. This is just who we are and what the business is.
Yeah, that's a big deal for us. At the end of the day, we all got a decision to make on how we're going to view the world, what mindset we're going to operate with, and I think every day is a good day to have a good day. And I know that sounds corny, but there's a lot of people that wake up and choose to have a bad day each and every single day. And for me personally, I couldn't fathom living a life like that. That just seems like a very sad, depressing, and miserable life that, like, 1, I wouldn't want to live, and 2, I wouldn't want to be around anyone else. Because if I was, I would just drag them down. And I don't think you can walk through life doing that. You need to be positive. You need to be attracting good things into your life, and having a pessimistic attitude or just being negative, it's only going to take you so far. And it always ends the same way, with you being alone.
Yep.
Always. Yeah, that's always been a big piece of who we are. So tell us a little bit about some of the struggles you've had here. You've shared some kind words, and we appreciate it. Give us maybe an example of a time where you really struggled here, and again, be raw with us. Tell us what it was, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I think for me it was actually not long after I started. I'd been doing this about a month, and I got approached to go to New Orleans, and it was just it was supposed to just be a stopgap deal. Hey, go out for 2 weeks. We need some help. And so, I was a little nervous. I'd never really worked out of town for an extended period like that. But I said, sure, I'm happy to go. And that 2 weeks turned into about 6 months. Definitely the longest I'd ever been away from home like that. I think the biggest thing for me was just getting used to the nonstop daily grind of a cat storm. But once you get settled in, really and truly, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. We had some good guys out there for sure.
Yeah, I always tell people, and I know people don't believe me on this one, but I swear to God, the best times I've had in the business is when I was on these cat storms. Grinding sun up to sundown, holding meetings in the morning, holding meetings at night, pushing guys, holding people accountable, selling my own personal deals and every bit of it. Because, like, I'm a guy, I love action. I love I'm just about that action. I love being a part of it. I love when there's like a gazillion moving parts, and I always treat it like this. Have you seen the movie The Hangover?
Yeah.
And there's Zach Galifianakis when he's like counting all the cards. That's the, I swear to God, like when we have all the chaos going on, especially on a cat storm, this crew didn't show up, that crew damaged this install got pushed back, this customer's pushed off, we just lost 10 deals. In my mind, I'm just seeing it, and I'm just like, yeah, this is what I'm here for. And like, it's just like one big ass equation, everything's moving around, and it's so much fun to me.
Yeah.
The conference calls and all the other stuff that I got to do is obviously a part of the job, but to me, that's not the fun stuff. The fun stuff is the fun stuff. The fun stuff is all out in the field.
Yeah,
that's where
getting
the action
out in the
is.
weeds and being out with the guys.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really, really is. I miss those cat storms. Matter of fact, maybe no one will hear this before it happens, but if we end up going and working one of these storms out of state, and if Illinois is as big as it is, I'm thinking about coming out of retirement for maybe like a good week or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks and go run that storm.
Heck
so
yeah.
Don't share that with anyone yet. We'll wait for it to come out because nobody knows.
Yeah.
But it's on my mind. I miss it that much.
Yeah.
I miss it that much.
I thought the same thing, to be honest, when you mentioned it last night. I think I've got a good idea on who we want to go out there and lead that from a quality standpoint, but I still think I want to get out there for about a week or so and just kind of get into the shit for a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I think we got to bring your boy Eddie too.
Oh, we got to bring Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie hasn't been out there. I think I'd like to get, in an ideal scenario, I'd like to get all of our leaders out there. I'm talking about ET, you, QT, everyone out there, and just like I want everyone to feel what it's like being out there.
It's been, God, almost 3 years since we had one. I miss that energy.
Yeah,
I miss that kind of organized chaos.
It is. It's a different kind of intensity, and I freaking love it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's stay tuned. We obviously may get some, a storm here, which would throw things off a little bit, but we'll do whatever we got to do to service the communities, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's who we are.
Always.
So cool. You've been with us. Some ups, some downs. You've seen people come. You've seen people go. You've seen some highs. You've seen some lows. When did you know? Like, was there a moment when you realized, like, this freaking job's gonna like push the crap out of me?
I think it was towards the tail end of New Orleans. At that time, I'd been with us 5 or 6 months and was starting to take on some more responsibility. I think even after we wrapped up New Orleans, we had to go back out for a couple of service tickets, all the while still trying to juggle senior QCM responsibilities in Austin. And I'd never really had that much responsibility professionally, so it was a little taxing in the moment. But looking back, it's light work.
Yeah, it is, right, in the big picture. And listen, this is a different breed of people too, right? You've got some high-level sales leaders, some high-level guys that have led big teams in the past, and you're working with them, and they have high expectations. It's not a joke, because this isn't a good fit for everyone. I think we can all agree. Listen, so I was thinking as I was coming in here, and I was like, what is one of the things I really respect about Stu? And there's a few things, but one of the things that I really do respect is you've got a very cool temperament, which I'm very big on. I think the moment someone can quickly piss you off, irritate you, get you upset, they can play with you like a little fiddle.
Yeah.
You know what a fiddle is?
Yeah.
Like the little.
Hey, did you play violin?
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know a fiddle very well. And people can just play with you, and they can play with your emotions, and you are no longer in control. And to me, if I'm going to live this life as a human being, one of the number one things that I must have control over is my thought process, my mindset, and most importantly, what's influencing those is my emotions. Because if I don't got control of those and someone else does, then I'm not really even in control of my life.
Yep.
And I've seen you take that on very well, where I don't see you get rattled very often. Where does that come from?
Honestly, I'm not real sure. I've always I shouldn't say always. When I was younger, I think like most guys, I had a pretty short fuse, but I mean, really and truly, nothing good ever comes out of getting pissed off. You can be pissed off all you want; it's just not going to change anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're not helping the cause.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think there's people who say, you can't get, you don't want to be too pissed off, nor do you want to be too on this side. What's the value in getting pissed off? If your opinion.
I think it depends on the person. I know for some people it can be a big motivator, but for me, I wasn't ever really a motivator for me. It was something that I would gradually kind of sink into, and I never cared for that feeling at all.
Yeah. What is it that drives you? Like what is your motivator?
Honestly, I like doing a good job. I like being good at stuff. That's something I struggle with. I don't like being bad at something. So if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right.
Is that something from like mom, pops? Is like
I think so. Not necessarily anything that they ever specifically taught us. More just kind of, I guess, reacting, or I guess picking up on how they are. Not any ever big sit down, hey, this is what you got to do. Just watching mom and dad and doing what they do.
Yeah, that's good. The best kind of parenting, right? Lead by example, and your kids will follow. So one of the things I've seen in salespeople is they have a very specific like personality type. Mm-hmm. They kind of all move in sequence, like in a similar pattern, and I think all groups, depending on the personality and what the job form is, that applies to all departments. In ops, especially on the quality team, we're talking about guys that manage projects, right? Guys that get their hands dirty a little bit with the crews and, all the rest of it. And I've always described these folks as like, these guys probably played Legos when they were kids. Like they built Legos and did stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is a fan question here. Did you play Legos?
Dude, I still build Legos.
Okay. See?
36 years old. I still build Legos.
That's awesome. What's the biggest one you built?
The
most impressive one you built?
I'm a big Star Wars guy. I think it was during COVID, I built the Death Star. It was something like 4,000 pieces.
Sheesh.
Knocked it out in a weekend.
In a weekend?
Yeah.
What's the key? Like if you could give one secret sauce to like a $4,000 or 4,000 piece Lego set.
Man, there's really no key that I know of. I like building things. I like multitasking, so I just put a show on in the background and just get lost doing it.
Where do you start?
In the beginning.
Yeah. What's the piece though? Like, is that there's nothing to it? It's just like, hey, get to assembling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's awesome. That's cool. I haven't built anything of that sort in like a couple decades.
You should, man. It's
been a while.
A fun little blast back to childhood.
Yeah, it is.
Got some cool ones now. Way cooler than when we were growing up.
Yeah, much cooler. Way more advanced. Awesome, man. Well, so that's something you like to do in your free time, then. So you watch sports. I've heard you talk. You're like a sports almanac, so you know a ton about sports. What else do you do?
I read. I spend time with my girlfriend. I play some video games here and there, but that's about it, man.
Yeah.
I'm getting boring in my old age.
How old are you?
36.
Okay. Yeah, you're up there.
I got some years on you.
Yeah, like 10,
Yeah.
but it's all good. Who's counting? No, I'm teasing. Well, that's good, man. So let's shift back a little bit. Tell us about your childhood. Tell us a little bit about like your come up. Like what was that like? Are you from Texas originally?
Yeah. Born and
Okay.
raised in Fort Worth. Grew up down the street from TCU. Dad was a banker. Mom was a stay-at-home mom. I've got a brother who's 6 years older than me, and it's I followed him everywhere I could growing up until he got to the point where he was off driving places. And
Your brother or your dad?
my brother.
Okay, got it.
He went off to college, and we kind of grew apart for a couple of years. And then I think once I hit 21 or 22 and we kind of started doing some of the same stuff again, we started getting a lot closer. But he's always been one of my best friends and somebody that I really look up to. But yeah, just the four of us, pretty tightly knit.
That's really cool. What does he do now?
He's in banking in Houston.
Following Pop's footsteps, huh?
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. What kind of banking does your Pops do?
Dad actually just retired at the start of the year.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah, no, he's eating it up.
Yeah.
Well,
Any big vacations or trips? They staying here, just chilling.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Well, good, man. And were they like tougher, strict parents? Were they pretty chill?
So obviously being the younger brother, they were a lot more lenient with me than they were with Jeff.
Yeah. Did you ever get whooped, sir? Don't worry.
No. Not that I can remember, but it wasn't.
It wasn't a good whooping then. If it was,
No,
yeah.
it was
I remember all of mine.
more the fear of, oh shit, I pissed off mom and dad was enough to keep me in line for the most part.
That's awesome, man. Listen, I wish I had that. I can distinctly remember times where I just got wrecked. I'm talking about smoked. Like, if someone saw footage of it today, they'd be like, they'd lock up my parents.
To be fair, I think there were times when I was younger I probably could have used one or two, but
Yeah, and listen, when I say it today, I don't even mean it in a bad way. I mean it like, yeah, I well deserved.
Yeah.
It wasn't a situation, thank God, where like it was like an angry drunk father or like just a temperament issue. It was like I did something really stupid, and my father knew if he doesn't come at me aggressively and physically mostly, I'm probably not going to learn my lesson.
yeah.
Yeah, so what has to be done has to be done. But every kid, like, and I'm not a father, so I'm not trying to give parenting advice. I just relate a lot of it to managing and leading people. You got to manage everyone differently.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't lead your daughter the same way you'd lead your son, I imagine. And even if you have two boys, surely if they have different personality types, because then it leads back to the question of nature versus nurture. And we can argue that for years on years and decades, and it has been argued. But the true answer is it's not only nature, nor is it only nurture.
It's got to be both.
It has to be both, right? Because you and your brother, and I don't know, but maybe you guys are identical when it comes to personality types. But I've got two brothers, and we're not at all. But we grew up in the same household, had the same parents. There's a piece of that that's straight nature.
Yeah.
And then the rest is obviously the nurturing piece, right? Yeah, it's interesting how that works. So let's take it a totally different direction, all right? I asked, so I'm curious because I feel like you may have something here. I asked Jonah on our last podcast, and I asked him, I said, hey, what's the biggest conspiracy theory that you believe is like, it's a real thing? I could be wrong here, but something tells me that you may have something up your sleeve there.
Man, I don't know that it's even really a conspiracy, but I 100% believe aliens are out there, man. There's a whole lot of stuff coming out recently about possible disclosure, but with everything going on, there's no telling, even if they do come out and say anything, what's true or what's not. But man, I've always believed that.
Yeah. Why is that?
I think the universe is too big for us to be the only sentient life out there. To be honest, I think it's kind of dangerous for people to assume that humanity's the only, or I guess Earth is the only place where there's sentient life out there. Why should it only be us?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because that's what he said too. That was his number one thing. And he went into quantum physics and a bunch of other little, specifics on it. And it was interesting, and I looked it up since. Do you think they're walking amongst us here on Earth, or when you say aliens, you're talking about uniquely to a different planet?
I think uniquely to a different planet. I don't know that I necessarily think there's little green man or gray man or whatever in skin suits or something walking around. But I've seen a good bit of documentaries on UFO sightings and stuff like that, and I think there's something to it.
Yeah. So, it makes you wonder, like, okay, so we get UFO sightings or we have history or documentation of UFO sightings, right? Meaning they know we exist, right? Because that's kind of what it is, right? It's not like they're just roaming free territory and don't see, like, oh, another life. Why don't you think, like, there's interactions there? And do you think they're watching? Do you think they accidentally took a wrong turn? And like ended up here. Like, what are your thoughts?
I think they're watching. There's been multiple. Oh my God, my mind just went blank. Multiple cases where people have reported increased activity around nuclear sites. Missiles just going, since missiles are basically always in the ready status. Systems just completely shutting down. And this was, 30, 40, 50 years ago when hacking something like that wasn't even really an option. So I think they're watching, trying to keep us on our best behavior.
Yeah, so you think we're a threat to them? Or they're a threat to us?
I think we're a threat to ourselves.
Okay. Tell me about, what do you mean?
I struggle sometimes with where we're at in 2026, because as a society we've never had more access to educational resources or information, but somehow it seems like we're just getting dumber. We're going backwards. We've never been more technologically advanced than we are now, but just it feels like we've lost common sense.
Yeah. It's interesting. And the other thing is who knows what's real and what's not?
Yeah.
With AI, right? Especially with AI. And who's policing the truth? Like, now more than ever. Yeah. Like, one of us can go online today and fabricate an article from the New York Times via AI and post it and say, whatever, Stu Lewis, has an encounter with an alien. Yeah. And a picture of you shaking hands with an alien. And like, I could write a whole article about it, and I post it on social media, and it would get so much traction. And I would bet that the majority of the people in the comments would believe it's true.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually a very interesting place we're living in today.
You're not wrong, man. There's a ton of people. I mean, obviously it's Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So there's going to be a lot of misinformation, but the number of people that just blindly ask, "Hey, Grok, is this true?" Grok can say whatever Grok's going to say, but it's programmed a certain way, and if the AI isn't programmed, it's not quite the way I want to say that. I think AI can be programmed to mislead us more.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, there's if you look around what's going on in the world right now, right? You've had Epstein files released, which is absolutely insane. I don't know if you've even seen any of that stuff.
I've seen some.
Or highlights. There's some pretty nasty, terrible things in there from some very high-profile people.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to happen to those folks.
No, never.
Instead, it's like, hey, look here, war. Hey,
It's
look
all
here,
misdirection.
aliens. Look here, and yeah, it's a very interesting time for us
Yeah.
here, and just in general, it's very difficult to understand what's real and what's fake today. And I don't just mean that in terms of knowledge. Same thing with people,
Yeah.
right? Like I had a ride home the other day with a driver of mine, and he was telling me that he's like, man, I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but it's so difficult to have genuine relationships with anyone at this point, anyone new. And even the folks that you know and have been friends with, etc., everyone's just trying to look out for themselves. And I think a lot of that is by design. Our survival instinct, I feel like, is at it's at a very, very high level right now for all of us. And the bad thing about survival instinct all the time is you'll do whatever you got to do to survive, even if that means screwing over someone else, because you can justify it by saying, well, I had to do it to take care of my kids and my wife and my family. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's 100% by design.
I think you're right. I think that, and I couldn't even begin to tell you who or why, but we've never, at least in my lifetime, been as divided as we are right now as a country. And really and truly, I think it stems from the fact that no one either can or is willing to sit down and have a rational conversation about anything anymore. It's either you can agree with me or shut the hell up. I'm not going to listen to you. And I think that's where we've gone sideways.
And no one can do anything about it.
Nope.
That's the crazy thing. And then once you realize your voice essentially means nothing, and if it's not in alignment with the agenda, your voice will disappear, and everyone sees it disappear, and then everyone's like, well, we saw what happened with so-and-so, not worth the battle.
Yeah.
And whatever that issue was, forcibly, and intentionally gets squashed, and then we're on to the next thing. Oh, gas prices have gone up, groceries have gone up, freaking A, I got to make some more money to survive, and now you're back in survival mode.
Yep.
That's, it's tricky times. What do you think on that subject? Do you think there's a real solution that exists? And if so, what do you think it is?
Honestly, man, I really wouldn't even know where to start. But the next candidate who seriously runs on term limits is going to get some serious consideration, because nobody needs to be doing this for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
I think it's too easy for someone to get kind of entrenched and corrupted and never leave office. And at that point, they're no longer serving their constituents, they're serving themselves.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen time and time again. Yeah, it's interesting. Even if we locked up all the politicians that were, part of those files, and or even if they weren't in those files, and just have a shady history of receiving funny money from people and areas or whatever, then what? Right? Like,
got to find the right people to put
because
aces in their places.
Yeah, it is, until
it starts again.
It does.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy how that works. So I think the best thing we can all do is, I think, one, and everyone's got their own opinion on this, but number one, you got to believe in something greater than yourself, and you got to believe in something greater than humans. And I don't just necessarily mean aliens by that. I mean, like, you got to believe in some sort of higher power, because here's what I've learned. If you don't believe in God and you're going to try to make sense of this world, you will go absolutely mad, like batshit crazy. Like, why are there kids being blown up? Why does a little baby die on the operating table? Why did so-and-so's mother get, killed in a fatal car accident while she was pregnant? Like, there's just, you can't make sense of this world. But we're humans, and I don't think we're designed biologically to try to even make sense of it, because you will actually go crazy. The one thing that can allow folks to sleep at night is to have some sort of peace in their heart that there's more to this world. This isn't the end. Because if I, and I'm a very rational person, try to make sense of all this, there's no answer.
Yeah.
There's no answer. And then the other thing is, I think the other best thing you can do is once you do that, the best thing is to focus on yourself and your family and making sure everyone's in a safe, favorable position. Because God forbid something was to happen, at least you have a bunch of money that you've been saving and working hard for, that if you need to escape a situation or get out, that's a feasible option for you versus being stuck.
Yeah.
Because the worst feeling in the world is being stuck somewhere you don't want to be. The absolute worst feeling.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I feel like we went really deep down that rabbit hole, but that's the fun stuff. That's the fun stuff. So let's shift back into some of the things that you've learned over the years. Now that you've been a leader, what's been the most challenging part specifically about being a leader of other men and women?
And I think for me, tough, honest love was something that I struggled with, and we've talked about briefly in the past, but I mean, tough conversations are tough for a reason, but you've still got to have them at the end of the day. It's just it took me longer than I would have liked to kind of rewire my brain where those weren't not necessarily not as tough, but not as uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's fair. What's so tough about tough, honest love?
I mean, to me, I think it's not wanting to potentially hurt somebody, especially somebody that you work with every day and you're close with. But at the end of the day, pain leads to growth, so it can't necessarily be a bad thing. It just kind of depends on what it is, but. Like I said, at the end of the day, you still got to have the tough conversations. Business is business, and relationships are relationships.
100%. You usually see one of two outcomes. Someone takes that tough, honest love, and they take it on the chin. They take it as a man, woman. They internalize it, and they make behavioral changes, and they grow, and they get better, and they rewrite a new chapter. And then you got the other end, which is the exact opposite. No accountability, a bunch of finger pointing, and a bunch of excuses. When you see that happen and someone starts blaming everyone else and it's not their fault and they start name calling and name dropping, how do you handle that?
I mean, you got to be direct with them. Say, hey, look, you can say this, you can say this, you can say this, but at the end of the day, this is about you and what you need to address. And just you have to hammer home that point. Basically, beat them over the head with it till they recognize it, or it's the old breakthrough or breakdown.
Yeah, it really, really is. That's well said. And I asked you that question because I think we got a bunch of viewers on here that are maybe up and coming managers and leaders, and folks got to understand when you're having a one-on-one with someone and you're redirecting them and you're giving them tough, honest love, and the moment you start giving them that tough, honest love, and they start pointing the finger and talking about someone else, you got to shut that down immediately and be like, whoa, this conversation is about you. Here's what you did. Let's talk about you. We can talk about these other folks later on, but this is about this conversation right here. So I'm going to ask you again, please tell me X, Y, and Z. And that's so important because when you don't allow someone to make excuses, because it's all a distraction. It's just to take the attention away from me and put the attention here on this person and how they messed up and what they did wrong. Because then I'm not interested in growth at that point.
Yeah, you feel, the person making that excuse feels better about themselves. It's a natural human thing, but that's not any way to be successful or be, even a good teammate.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's definitely one of the hardest things. Dave mentioned something similar. Dave Hassani, when I had him on the podcast, on the difficulty of giving tough, honest love. No one wants to do that, right? It's like, why doesn't everyone just do their job and we're all happy and we work together and we conquer the world? Only if it was that easy, right? Yeah, yeah. What's the best part of being a leader?
Honestly, man, I think it's helping people grow. Jerry's come a long way. That's my guy, and I've said for basically the entirety, or I guess almost 3 years he's been with us. To this day, he is still one of maybe 3 QCMs who came up and actively asked me, "Hey, what can I do to be better? How can I be better? How can I make a difference?" It's rare to find, but it's all in how you help influence them. Some people naturally have that mindset. Some people need to grow into it. I think for me, it's helping people find what they're really capable of.
Yeah. And Jerry's a special kid.
Yeah.
Jerry's very good at what he does. He's a hard worker. The good thing, the thing I really respect about Jerry, and he's coming in here over the next couple of weeks, so I'm going to get a chance to have this with him, is not only is he a very hard worker, but he understands the value of relationships,
Yep.
and he's very genuine about it. I've never seen anyone build relationships with our subs and our crews the way that he does.
He's next level.
He really is, and it's not forced. Like you can tell in those pictures, he's enjoying it as much as they are.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're having a good time, and there's so much freaking value in taking care of the guys that, to me, have the most difficult job in the roofing world, is actually getting up on these crazy steep roofs, not to do an inspection and not to take away from the guys doing inspections, but to get up there in the heat of 100 degrees, 80 degrees, or in the cold of 40 degrees, and the job's got to get done, and they got the pressure of making sure that job gets done despite that freaking 25-degree wind chill.
Yep.
Or that 120-degree roof with shingles on their back, tools on their hip, boots, the whole works. Those guys are impressive.
Yeah, 100%, man. We had a guy that was with us in Florida who I think put it best, and it's really simple, man. He said, "This isn't a little boy job. This is grown man's work," and I don't mean that necessarily from a physical standpoint. Obviously, it can be a demanding job. Climbing roofs, steep roofs, 2 stories, but more from a mentality standpoint, you have to be an adult if you're going to do this job. There's no room for kid mindsets.
Yeah, it's very, very, very well said. I've seen you take him under your wing, and I've seen him grow a lot. So thank you for that, and I'm sure he's very, very grateful.
No,
he talks about the dynamic of your guys' relationship, which is actually kind of weird to me, in a good way. The last connection I would have probably pushed towards the top of the list is the one you and Jerry have. I feel like it's 2 different worlds coming together.
Yeah.
2 different personalities coming together.
Yeah.
2 different thought process, 2 different skill sets coming together. But it's an awesome fit. Why do you think that is?
I was just gonna say, I think it's because we're so different in a lot of ways. We both have the same job's not done till the job's done mentality, but we complement each other well.
Yeah.
He's always bang 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 bang, let's do this now, whereas I'm a little more, well, hang on, let's slow it down for a second, take a look at everything from different angles, and it works, man.
Yeah, that's a great one too. You've had the ability to give that gift to someone of leadership. You've also had the ability to receive it, right? Who's made an impact on your leadership ability? I think I know the answer, and I'm gonna guess it's Chico.
Oh yeah.
Because you've spent a ton of time with him. Chico's an incredible human being. He's an amazing leader. What has he helped you out with the most in terms of your leadership ability? Let's start there.
I think he played a big role in the tough, honest love piece, just because that's something he's pretty damn good at himself. There's been a handful of times where he's had to pull me to the side and give me some tough, honest love, and really just kind of that. And I think seeing the way he moves with everybody. Chico's Chico's never met a stranger. I'm a little more reserved, I'd say, but he's helped bring me out of my shell, and I mean, he's cheeky.
Yeah.
Where would we be without him?
Yeah, Chico's like I said, he's a special human being.
Absolutely.
He's a true one of one.
Yep.
He's a true one of one.
They legit will give you the shirt off his back if you need it in that moment, kind of person.
Yeah,
there's
and the
not very
pants.
many of those.
And the pants. If he feels like, yeah, you could probably use some pants too. And run around here naked because he's that crazy
Yeah.
too. Yeah, he's a wild man. My relationship with him over the years has become a brother, best friend kind of relationship. From our days in our previous endeavor to then us starting up a business together, going through troubles there, and then starting this business together, and partnering on a bunch of other side quests. Like I'm getting a chance to see his kids grow. I'm getting a chance to see him grow, which has been really, really cool. Because if you knew Chico when I first met Chico, totally different dude.
Oh, I can see that.
Same personality, same great energy and smile and charisma. He's always had that. But his skill set, and this is something I respect admire about him, he's a true student of the game. He's a true student in the game. He is ready to learn. He is ready to implement. He's ready to take notes. He's ready to
Always
share
taking
it.
notes.
He's a freaking student in the game, and I love working with guys like that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think makes him so great at what he does?
I think it's two things. It's the hustle for sure, but I think his biggest strength is honestly how much he cares. Like, Chico could know somebody for 10 minutes and they'll be best friends, and it's just he imparts that on people daily. You can feel the love when Chico walks in the room.
100%. Yeah, it's like I said, one of one. Look, we're kind of coming down to our final moments. I've had an awesome time chatting with you about things.
Likewise.
Stu, put a quick second of thought into this, okay? I always like to ask everyone the same question or a variation of it. If, God forbid, this was your final, recorded interview or recorded moment of life, and people would look back and be like, this sums up Stu and how he views the world and his thought process. And you got a bunch of young guys young guys and gals looking up and watching this video, all the way to family and friends. And what piece of advice or what words would you want to leave the world with?
I always tell the quality guys, the more you do now, the less you have to do later. And I'm big on always being prepared, always being ready for the worst case. But I think if you focus too much on the worst case scenario, you're going to kind of naturally drag yourself into more of a negative mindset. I think the biggest advice I could give somebody is just finding the balance, man. You got to do everything that you can now, while at the same time recognizing that tomorrow's not promised. So it can be hard to find the balance between long term and short term, but I think if you can figure that out, man, that's the best advice I can give anybody. 'Cause I struggled with long term planning, hell, even up until a couple of years ago. So I'm late to the game. I wish that it was something I'd focused more on when I was younger, and I think that kind of set me back. So I'd say find the balance between now and 10 years from now. Beautiful. Stu, it's been a pleasure, brother. Yes,
We appreciate you being
Always.
on. Folks listening at home, again, this is Stu Lewis, Director of Quality here at Blue Hammer Roofing, but he's a whole lot more than that. Make sure you guys listen to the full podcast, subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and follow us on social media. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Blueprint Podcast. We had a great time today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We put out an episode every single Monday at 8 a.m., so make sure you tune in for the next one and share some feedback. We'd love to hear what you have in mind. We'll see you on the next one.